Welcome, everyone, to 3 Steps to Discovering Your Best Colors. This is something that I've done before in the past, but there's so many things that have changed within your color style over the last several months, from the color palettes changing to me flipping around the methodology a bit, that I felt after seeing some of the kind of swirl confusion in the Facebook groups, it would be a good time to do a refresh and also answer a lot of the questions that I'm seeing in the groups that I know you're not really getting that support that you're looking for, because some of you are so close to getting your color type, you just want those questions answered so you can move forward. So I completely understand that. For those of you that are new to your color style or to me, let me just do a very quick introduction. My name is Jen Vax. I am the founder of Your Color Style. It is based on color theory, not seasons. So you will see that I explain things a little bit differently than you might expect. So if you are new, I hope that you get a lot out of this webinar. And again, please ask lots of questions. You will not be learning your season in this call. You will be learning your color type within your color style, which in my opinion is a little bit better. So if I were to back up 10 years ago for me, I had a bit of a midlife crisis. And midlife for me was 40. Now I am now 50 and I feel like maybe that's midlife, but I don't really think it matters. I think really it's when we move into a time of our life where we suddenly find ourselves in an undefined space. For me at that time, I was divorced. I had moved into my own townhouse. I was working full time. I had put on a lot of weight. I did not like how I looked. And I was really feeling lost. And I'm not sure how many of you have ever kind of felt that way, but life has a really interesting way of separating yourself from who you really are. You become the mom to the kids, you become the wife to the husband, you become all the things that are necessary for you to take care of the people around you that you care for. And there's certainly nothing wrong with that. But what happens a lot is that we tend to disconnect and we put ourselves to the side. And another time, just drop something. It's fine. But when you move on, right? You separate yourself. This is what's important now in my life, and I will do the things that I think I want to do later. When I was in my townhouse by myself, and it was just after Christmas, the kids were at their dad's. I had just moved in, so there's boxes everywhere. Things haven't been unpacked yet. The cable wasn't turned on, so I didn't have anything to really entertain myself. And it was really kind of there that I realized that I really didn't know who I was anymore. Why that's important now and to you is that I believe that we all come to trying to find the colors that make us feel really good and are most flattering, because we end up in a point that is kind of unfamiliar to us. And we've decided that it's time for us to take it up a notch because we've moved into a new definition. Whether you're now in a new relationship, it doesn't have to be a bad thing, by the way. It could be a good thing. We could be out of a relationship. You could be an empty nester, or your kids are home for the summer. It could be they've moved out for the first time. It could be someone's sick in your family, or you lost a parent. There's all kinds of ways that we define ourselves. And we, without noticing and without realizing, we end up in a new definition. And when you start to feel stuck. I felt stuck. I felt lost. And I believe the reason is because we are still playing in our earlier version, thinking that things are going to change now in this new definition, when we need to now show up in that space. And the idea would be that we show up better, upgraded, so that we're feeling like we're moving forward into the next chapter, whatever that chapter is, with that confidence in ourselves. And I believe there are many tools that you can use to do that. And color is a very powerful thing you can do. That is why I believe we are here. It's why I found it for myself, because when I started to learn what colors really made me shine. When I looked in the mirror and I liked what I saw, that just gave me that boost of confidence that I needed to start to address the changes that are happening in my life. And it doesn't have to be a midlife crisis. It could be a change every year. You might be evolving over time. And I can tell you that since that time, I have probably gone through several versions of myself since then, because things keep changing, and some they're not pleasant and some are great. And I keep trying to show up as that new version. If we keep playing with old stories and our other self, our previous self, we start to feel stuck. When we start to learn our colors, it's a great way to show up, to feel like the person that you want to be in that next phase. So today we are going to learn, or hopefully get clarity on your color type so that you can start to focus on your color palettes finally. So I know some of you are kind of stuck, and move forward so you can start to show up with that confidence. So if you are excited about learning some of the trade secrets that I'm going to share with you, a lot of things that are up here that I rarely share, then go ahead and type yes in the chat. We're going to dive right in. I just want to see yes, 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 yes. I want to see engagement. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I love it. I love it so much. Now, if it's no, I don't know why you're here. But definitely, I love that engagement. It makes me happy, keeps me going, keeps that energy up. Now, as I get set up for screen sharing, I want you to, if you would do that for me, type into the chat if you're willing. If this webinar was to be the most amazing webinar and you walked away going, yes, my problem is solved. Tell me what that is in the chat. Let me know what does success mean to you by the end of this event? Because I want to make sure that I address it, if it's possible, while I'm going through this presentation. Okay. I got a lot of questions in the Facebook group about warm and cool. So I see that, Leanne, warm or cool. I got you. Okay. The color type, hopefully we will get there today. Olive skin, I have that covered as well. Yep. Okay. Okay, it's a lot here. This is really good. I'm going to close up this window here so I can see. Here we go. Okay. We have gray hair. All right. How to know more light or more soft or more warm as your primary feature. Okay, I will do the best I can on that. Gray hair, I see that. Medium or deep. Okay. All right. And borrowing neighboring colors, warm or cool, how bright or rich I need my colors to be. The color harmony class covers contrasting colors. Yeah, we're not going to get into that today. But yes, how can I wear black and white as bright or medium? Okay, starting to go gray. Want to know how the color impacts me. All right, wonderful. These are all so great questions. And I believe I've captured a lot of information and questions from before, so I should be able to answer most of these, but we will definitely have a session for Q&A at the end of this to wrap things up. And hopefully you will get clear. So let me go ahead and dive into by the way, if you see me looking at the camera, I am talking to you. When you see me looking down, I'm looking at my screen. I just don't want you to think that I'm doing something else. That's not, you've been seasonally typed in the past and you want to know what will be in your color style. Well, the best thing to do is as you go through the steps, think about the season, the characteristics of that season, and then try to align it as best you can to the color types. There is no direct one-to-one between the seasons and the your color style types. But I also believe that you will find maybe even a better fit once you start to understand the process. Okay. All right. Let's start finding our colors for our next version of ourselves. Sharing my screen. Okay, here we go. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this so I get my controls. I'm going to do this. I'm always a little clunky with my presentations. So if I falter, please forgive me. All right. So let's start out with the basics going into this. All right. There are 3 steps. Now, each step is a little loaded. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's a little bit confusing. That's why we're doing this event today. But it used to be that we'd have, oh, you know what? It's still, I changed it again and look at that. So as I mentioned before, your color style is based on color theory. There are 3 aspects to color. There is the shades and tints, how light or dark a color is. That's the value. There's temperature, how warm or cool a color is. And then there's the chroma, how bright or soft or muted a color is. So I used to have the steps with the chroma first, and then the temperature, and then the light, medium, or deep. And what I discovered was a lot of people get stuck on the brighter cool, brighter soft, and they never get to go any further into the process, which is unfortunate because often the brighter soft isn't as critical as you might think. And I'm hoping that you will understand that once we get to that step. So we're going to start out with what I believe is pretty much the easiest to figure out, and also the least harmful if you feel like you're in between. So are you light, medium, or deep? The reason this is important is because of the range of colors that will be most flattering on you. Some of you I've noticed like to go into the in the color palettes, and then you say, oh, I really gravitate towards these darker browns, so therefore I'm just going to choose the medium. But that's not what we're doing. What we're doing is we're analyzing ourselves, and we are deciding what is our best range of colors, because we can choose okay colors, but we want the best colors. And those are the colors that are going to be in harmony with us. They're not going to stand out so much that people notice that about you versus looking pretty amazing in your colors. So if you're light, you're going to have light eyes, skin, and hair. Okay, here are some examples. Here's me. Light hair, eyes, and skin. You can have light brown hair, which I have now. I was blonde up until about 40, maybe my midlife crisis, turned my hair brown. I don't know, but now I'm about light brown. It's not that dark. It sometimes looks that dark in video, but it's really not. So, but generally what you're looking at is an overall kind of delicate quality. In fact, this woman up here, I would say I would actually put her in medium the more that I look at her. But notice everybody else is very fair, very light eyes, very light skin, okay? And when we look at that color range of color, it's not all of this. These are the 2 main color wheels of your color style. You have a bright, clear chroma one, which we'll talk about more, and we have a softer version of that wheel. When we talk about the range of colors that are ideal for someone who is light, notice that we've taken away all those really dark, heavy colors. It doesn't mean you can't wear them. The color police are not going to arrest you for wearing something darker, but this is where you will be the most harmonious. We are going to be taking that full color wheel I just showed you, and we're going to keep narrowing it down. So I want you to start to write down when you feel like you've found the first answer to your question. So if you're light, you can go ahead and write down light. Now I have some questions that were asked to me in the group ahead of time. So I'm going to get to that right after I go through the basics of this. Then I'll answer some more specific questions that I believe will be helpful for you. Now, if you're deep, now I skipped to medium on purpose. If you are deep, you're going to have very, very dark eyes, skin, or hair. You don't have to have all 3 for it to be true. So I try to collect as many different individuals as I can here to demonstrate deep. Notice the very dark hair, but she's got very light eyes, but I would still consider her deep. The deep range, especially for individuals with cool and deep, and we'll get to that, that's where things get a little interesting and have the most variety in different types of people and different types of colors that can be worn. But notice that very dark eyes, very dark hair, very dark skin. She has very light hair, but notice her very dark eyebrows and dark eyes. She has a lot of darkness in her hair. Same with her. Okay. So those individuals I would consider in the deep category. Okay. All right. So it matters again, because in general, and there's always rules to be broken, but in general, it's the darker range of colors that are going to be most flattering on you versus those light pastels. If you are neither light or deep, you feel like you're in between. I don't have anything really dark about me, and I don't have all three light things about me. So if that's the case, choose medium. When you're in doubt, choose medium. It is a safe range of color. You can always go lighter or darker as you're starting to explore those colors and put them on, because not everything's going to feel right. Just because I'm going to give you, you're going to get, a full color fan, hopefully, for yourself, and you're going to discover there's a lot of colors, and not every color is going to be your jam. Now, there's a reason for that too. I'll describe that later. But for now, you could always choose medium. I can totally see these individuals up here thinking, well, maybe I should be deep. If that's okay, there's nothing wrong with that, because it's just going to get you started in that range. All right. Someone who has very bright coppery hair, a lot of pigment about them, absolutely put them into the medium category, because the colors become more rich in the palettes. It's a nice even range. Notice that there's not real too light pastels here. There's nothing too dark, but someone who's medium, maybe even between medium and deep, can definitely probably go a little darker, and it will look great, because you're right there in the middle. So you're not creating any unusual contrast. One of the things that you're, not to get too advanced, but just something that to keep in mind. One of the reasons why I recommend, say, is someone who's light, to not go too dark, is because you're off balance. You're setting the balance off for your natural contrast. You're just in general. So if you are someone that, like me, that's generally a low contrast individual, you don't want to put a value that's so much darker than you that it's creating that high contrast, because that's what people notice. They don't necessarily recognize why they're noticing it, but they notice it and something's off. Okay, so if there's one thing that you can take from this webinar right now, is to pay attention to how light or dark a color is, because often I will hear people say, well, I can't wear light blues, or I can't wear, I don't know, gray, for example, or something like that. And a lot of the times the reason is because the color they're looking at is entirely too light for them, and it's washing them out, or a color is entirely too dark for them, and it's washing them out. Okay, so keep that in mind. So here are some questions that I received about depth, the value, light, medium, or deep. How do dark blue eyes, influence my color type with light hair and skin? I'm blocking my own words. 1 second. So since they are such a small feature, all right, it's a really good question. So I actually went and looked at this person who posted the question, and the reality is there's a little bit more going on here. Okay, you really do have to look at the full picture. Her eyes are like a gray blue. So yeah, I would say they were kind of on the light side. I did not read them as dark blue. Okay, I know that probably in photos they come across a little darker, but I was seeing kind of a gray blue eye, maybe medium at best, not dark. And her hair was a blend of light and medium, some grays in there and some light browns in there. And for me, her overall look was not as delicate. Remember, I used that word delicate for light. It's really hard for me to describe that, but it's when you've got a little ruddiness or just a little bit more medium tones in you, medium might suit you better. Now, she could have chosen light, but what she might have discovered is that some of the lighter colors might have kind of felt her a little washed out. So it's not because of just her eyes I would put her in the medium category. I definitely would not put her in deep. I would put her in the medium category, because not everything was necessarily light and fair and delicate. It was just, we're bridging now in between, and I would have chose medium. Again, medium is a safe place to be. Okay. Individuals have very dark eyes, but their hair has gone gray. Often the skin is not fair. It's usually got some pigment to it as well, and maybe even darker eyebrows. And that is why I would not take away those deeper tones that they used to probably wear very well. I would definitely look at that again between medium and deep. Okay. Now I know no one likes the in-betweens. Completely understand that, because you want to know. But I also want you to know that you can give yourself some grace and choose a color type and be okay with it. You can learn to be flexible with what you decide. Okay. All right. The hair around your forehead around my forehead is much lighter, like a light warm gray. And then it's medium ash brown the back. It is only the front part count. No, your whole picture counts. Now, obviously you're not seeing maybe the back of your hair, but you just want that overall general value. So again, it's you might have a light warm gray, and especially if it's around your face because it's coming in, then you can maybe use that more as the more important feature. But again, make sure you're looking at the whole thing. Okay. Look at everything. If your hair was a medium dark brown before, put that in your back pocket, because you may have lightened a little bit, but maybe not as much as you think based on your eyes and other qualities that you have about you. All right. And our blue eyes always considered light. I don't want to say always, I hate absolutes, but often I would say blue eyes, they don't have pigment. That's why they're blue. Blue-gray eyes often tend to be considered light, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you are light. Remember the whole picture, okay? And the reason that I feel like it's so important to kind of get this one feeling comfortable for yourself is because I don't want you to deny yourself some colors. So if you are someone that's light, but you're like, oh, but I love the medium, or I love the deep color palette, well, that's okay. But you're denying yourself some of those light, bright, vibrant colors that are just going to, wow, be some of those amazing colors for you. Okay. So we are moving into a new version of ourselves. We are learning how, breaking out of our comfort zone a little bit, maybe even breaking some things people have told you, and trying to step back now and reassess where you are at this point going forward. All right. Now, if you guys have any questions so far for me, please start putting them in the chat. I'm going to keep on going. If you feel like you are what your depth is, go ahead and put that in the chat. Share with other people what you're discovering. You feel like say you're light, say medium, say deep. If you're in between, say light/medium or medium/deep. All right. And just start to express. Yeah. So I'm seeing people feeling with confidence now. So this is great. We want to be confident. If you're between medium and deep, that's a great place to be. No doubt. Okay, great. Yeah. And I will often tell you that between medium and deep, it's a very, very common thing. And as we go a little further, you might narrow down a little bit more based on some other factors that will help you get even closer to that. Okay. Okay, great. So everyone's chiming in. Perfect. All right, we're going to keep going. I'll come back to that chat in a little bit. I don't have an assistant to help me out today, so I will be doing all the things, checking the chat and so on. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Medium/deep is a very common thing. I see it all the time. It's okay. Don't panic. All right, now we're going to get into undertones. And I know that this is where many of you get stuck. Many. And there's nothing unusual about this at all, because undertones can be quite a conundrum. Now, if you know your undertone, that's a huge win, because guess what? You've just now done 2 of the 3 steps and you are so close. So if you know you're warm and light, if you know you're cool and light, like that is huge. Okay. But if you don't, I'm going to go through some things to consider as best I can to help you with your undertones. And also maybe to even break up some misconceptions here, because I've seen some things that people post and the same questions I get all the time. So I'm hoping this will help you as well. All right, so here we go. All right, so what I did, okay, before I go any further, I have to tell you how I organized this so you understand what I'm doing. I organized this by warm light, cool light. So by lights, right? And then medium, warm, medium, cool, medium, and then by deep. So you get some examples as well. And as I go through this, I'm going to describe why I believe these individuals are warm, okay, or cool. So we're going to start out with light first. These are individuals that I feel are warm and light. Okay, and here's why. And I definitely included gray hair in a lot of these examples because I know a lot of us out there have gray hair or we're thinking about growing our gray hair out, and things get really confusing, especially if you have warm undertones. Because now all of a sudden you have this gray hair and you don't know what to do with it. All right. So I chose this one on the left, who I believe is warm. She seems to have kind of a golden quality to her skin, like a pigment there. Her hair, it could be the sun hitting it. It does look kind of like a dove gray, which is like a little bit of a yellow tone to gray. I could be wrong about that. That's not always true for everybody who has warm undertones. Her eyebrows are a little dark. She might even fit into the medium category, but I didn't have a really great gray-haired woman that I considered warm and light for this example. So I really feel like she's the best example I could find, but I think that if I were analyzing her professionally, I might almost put her in the medium category. She looks like someone that originally had red hair. Like she has that quality about her because she's got these bluer eyes and warm skin. On the right, we have a strawberry blonde. It's not this super deep coppery where I would say you definitely need to be a medium. She's kind of light overall, light eyes, and the skin and the hair, very warm. You're looking for warm. Now, you can be warm and light and still appear neutral. That doesn't mean you're neutral. It just means you are visually neutral. As we go into the different colors, you're going to learn that even though that you seem neutral, there's a sweet spot of colors that are going to look the best on you and the others are not. So let me show you what that means. If you recall, this is our light, right? We've taken that color wheel, we've narrowed it down. We've removed all the dark colors in this example. If you are warm, there is a very small section of the color wheel of colors that are really going to suit you. Now, if you have gray hair with warm undertones and you believe that you fit somewhere in this category, focus for now on your eyes and your skin. If you were to pretend your hair was back to its original color, you will notice that these warm colors, these golden yellows, apricots, peaches, warm tomato reds, and light, even the lighter colors right here, you can focus just on these lighter colors, not even the darker ones just yet, just the lighter ones. And you should start to feel a little harmony about you. These colors will not suit you if you have cool undertones. Now, here's the science behind it. Here's the color theory behind it. Okay, so maybe this will help with a light bulb moment. In art, now I'm a fine artist. I do a lot of art. People who follow me and know me, like I'm always creating weird stuff. And I love color. I love experimenting with color. And one of the things that's true in art, if you are doing a painting and you want all the colors in your painting to be harmonious, okay, you would take, let's say you had 5 colors. You had I don't know, you had a red, you had a turquoise, some kind of golden yellow, and a gray, okay? You had a bunch of paints out that you like that you're going to use in this painting, but you want the colors to be harmonious. What you would do is you just choose one of those colors. In this example, we're going to say yellow, and we're just going to drop a little yellow into each of those colors. Now they all share the same color, and you use those colors in your painting, and all the colors to the eye will work. They will go together because they all share the same color, even if it's just a small amount. The same is true for color analysis. When we are saying, oh, you have warm undertones or cool undertones, and you might question why, what difference does it make? We're talking about harmony here. Even if it's not obvious, you may have just a touch of yellow, or you may have a lot of yellow in your undertones. You may be very obviously warm, or you can't tell at all. But the colors that are all created with yellow on the color wheel, in general, will be harmonious on you because you share the same colors. These right here, I consider to be the air quote warmest colors, and which is why it's a no-go for someone who has cool undertones. Doesn't work at all. It enhance the yellow in the skin on someone with cool undertones, making them look a little bit sallow, a little sick. Someone with warm undertones, this will enhance your yellow tones, your golden tones, and warm you up even further. Okay, win. So for cool undertones, you're sharing blue. You have a little blue about you, even if it's not obvious. Now, the woman on the left, they put a lot of makeup on her in the photo. Okay, so it's a professional Photoshop photo, and they put a ton of makeup on her. I just don't believe she's that warm in person. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think she's cool. Notice though, we have a lot of blue-eyed women here. Not everybody has to have blue eyes, but since this is cool and light, you're going to see that often. And the same thing is true for the cools. You have just a small amount of color. Now, your full color palette will be the full range of color. I mean, you're going to have, I shouldn't say the full range, but you're going to have a much larger selection of color. But when someone says to me, well, I look great in blue and I look great in tomato red, so I don't understand. Am I neutral? Do I look good in both color types? No. The colors that matter the most when trying to figure out your undertones are these small pieces of color, these little pies. Everything else can likely be shared in some way between cool and warm, and won't tell you exactly if you have warm or cool undertones. So if you love wearing blue, you can still have warm undertones. If you love wearing yellow, you could still have cool undertones. Okay, so you want to look for the blue-based, mauve pinks, cool pinks. All these will look amazing on you with cool undertones. And if you have warm undertones, I can tell you right now, if I wore any of these, soft or bright, it looks completely off. Okay, it's going to bring out the blue in me, which I don't have a lot of, and it's going to bring out the blue like underneath my eyes and lines. Someone with cool undertones is going to enhance your cooler tones further because it's all in harmony with you. Okay, so that is the color theory and science behind this. So when you see me sharing these little small colors, it doesn't mean this is your color palette. This is what you're going to use to drape. So when I see all of you in the group and you're draping and you're draping your heart out, you have got so many beautiful colors, and that's fun, but it's better to do that after you figured out where you fit in your color style. And then you can start to play with the variations of those colors to see which ones really look the best on you. That's when you're narrowing things down. But in the beginning, drape only in the things I'm sharing with you right now. Okay. So, and I'm not sharing it here, but like if you have warmer tones, obviously draping in a cream is going to be helpful. And if you're draping cool, you would maybe do a white. That would also be helpful. But other than that, try to find these colors. All right. And you can get some people to have your opinions against that tomato red or apricot versus the cool blue magenta. All right. So let me give you some more examples now. If you are deep, and by the way, I haven't forgotten you. I will get to the olive skin in just a moment. Okay. So hang in there. All right. So warm undertones for women that are deep. If you have brown skin, you're going to see a lot of golden brown. Okay. Very, very obvious golden brown, even if your hair is cool. So for her, she has this really beautiful salt and pepper hair. Same with her, silvery white, kind of as a contradiction, right? But the golden brown, and notice that this beautiful warm pink is just perfect on her, even with her cool hair. Okay. She could have olive skin tone. She could, hard for me to tell in this photo. So for now, I'm going to go with me saying she's got warm undertones because it kind of looks like that in the photo, but she could also have olive skin tone. So if you want to ignore this one, that's totally fine. And then we don't have to have gray hair, obviously. She's like an auburn. So her skin is very neutral looking. It doesn't look as obvious warm, but she does have warm brown eyes. There's a warmth about her, especially with her auburn hair. And if you were to drape her, you would notice right away that those magenta pinks don't suit her. Okay. Now, if you have you're someone with gray hair and you have warm undertones, but in this case, if you're deep or even if you're medium and you've got those contradictions, you have that light, cool hair, but this warm skin. This is where levels come in. Now, we're not going to get into levels today. It's an advanced concept. It's how you really narrow down your color palette. We've been doing a lot talking about this in Style Masters. So I will introduce that idea if you want to learn more about that. But usually what happens is if you've got a lot of gray in your hair, but you have warm undertones, you're now having this tip of dominant temperature. And usually that means that if you've got a lot of cool up here, you might notice that these darker browns aren't feeling as good. That doesn't mean you cooled off. Your undertones don't change, okay? They don't change. The gray hair loses its pigment, so the hair changes, but your tones and your skin aren't going to change radically from warm to cool. What you might discover, though, is that these darker browns feel heavy now, and those earthy tones don't feel as good. So you're going to lighten up those warm colors. So if you're not too sure yet where you fit and you want to drape yourself down here in the lighter colors. That's the safest bet, so that you don't see yourself in a warm brown and go, "Ugh, I can't have warm undertones. I don't look good in that." But you might look good with these colors down here. So I hope that helps a little bit. For cool individuals that are deep, okay, we are looking for blue, black, and black skin. Or magenta brown as possible. Also looking for porcelain quality skin that doesn't have really any warm tones in it whatsoever. You might even notice a little pink, like a cool pink, like she has in her skin. It's kind of it's not really warm. You don't really see any warm. Now, if you have green eyes and you think, well, I've got green eyes, those are warm eyes. That's actually not true. Green is a very neutral color. Let me show the color wheel here really quickly. Notice that green is right here along this dotted line. So if you are new to your color style and the color wheels, this is how you read this color wheel. On the right are the warm colors, and on the left are the cool colors, okay? At the top and at the bottom along this dotted line are colors that are shared. If I could straddle them visually, I would, but it was very difficult to do that and communicate what I'm trying to say. So these kind of straddle right here, meaning that they are shared equally between warm and cool. That is true down here as well. So when you say you have green eyes, or you say you've got green blue eyes, that doesn't actually mean that you have warm or cool undertones. It just is a quality and a beautiful color of your eye. Okay. And the same up here, true red. So you say, I look great in red. That's great. A lot of people do, because it's neutral. It's shared with both warm and cool. Okay. Now you can watch a lot of my videos that are on YouTube about how these color wheels were created. And I go even further into how some of these colors, and the reasons why they straddle things. Okay. So she's got a lot of makeup on as well for the photo. I imagine her skin would be more like this if she didn't have all that makeup on. Okay. So these are good examples of people that are, I think, cool and deep. She over here may have olive skin tone, and we'll get into that in a second. It's hard to tell, so I'm just kind of using these as good examples here. Check the chat real quick. Would the top middle be olive? Let me take a look. Second. Maybe she is a challenge. She's a model that is in a lot of stock photography, and in different photos, she looks different. And so it's really challenging to know for sure. I've gone back and forth with her being warm and cool. So if you see older videos, you might see me have put her in a different category. So I think her eyes are a very cool brown with like a little navy blue around the outer edge. And I feel like that might be where I think she is. And the photos are just screwing me up. I haven't adjusted any of these. Like when in your color style, when I train my consultants and we get the photos, we adjust them. We remove a lot of the yellow that's in them, and we use a lot of tricks to make sure that the photo is as realistic as possible. I didn't do that for these. These are all professional photographs, and I have to go with what I'm looking at. So assuming that these are perfect, right now she feels a little cool to me. Okay. All right. I'm not going to go back into the, oh, this is your little sweet spot of color, because it's the same story over and over again. I just want to show you the qualities of the individuals here. So this is the person that I had said I showed you in light, and then I moved her over to medium because she has so much pigment about her. I feel like she would be better off with some of those bolder colors, because that's really how you would describe someone that is warm and medium. They can really handle a lot of those bolder colors than that's in the light. The light, when I describe a person as being delicate with their light features, the colors and the light color types tend to be a little delicate, right? They're a little lighter. Doesn't mean they don't have any dark colors, but they're a little lighter. Someone who's medium, that's right in the middle, they're now getting more of that pigment. They're going to need more of those colors to balance them out. Super light colors will wash them out. Yeah. Amy says, yes, that's me. Bold colors are my best look. Right. Now, bold doesn't have to be bright like the red I'm wearing. Okay, that is bold. That's by definition bold. But I'm also just thinking just in saturation and color versus light pastel. When you see light pastel, I almost change my voice. It's very light. The darker we go, the more presence a color has, and that's what you need. Okay, whether you're soft or bright, you need that medium. All right. And then we have the same for the medium for cool. Now, cool and medium is probably the most different, the one that stands alone out of all 12 color types. I have noticed that when someone is medium, so, and well, I'm jumping ahead. Well, I'm going to go there anyway. People who are soft, cool, and medium is what I meant, not just cool and medium. So, the women that these four right here are considered soft, cool, and medium. I'll get to that with the chroma in just a beat. I didn't mean to jump too ahead of you. So, because what I was going to say was, the lighter colors won't be as flattering, same as the warm and medium, but I'm realizing I'm going to completely confuse all of you, because bright and cool on the right here needs that punch in color, and the ones on the left will not. So for now, if you are feeling like you're just in the medium range and you're feeling like you've got cool undertones, this is kind of where you'll be. Often I see a blend of gray. Doesn't have to be, just often I will see that. If you have cool undertones and you're feeling like you're at medium, that will be it. These individuals here, her hair is about a medium to dark brown. You could easily put her in the dark category. I would be willing to like drape someone for that. So, but you're looking at this medium quality. I hope that you kind of see that. And for the cool undertones, you're looking for a cooler quality eye. So you can see here the blues, right? Someone who's medium can definitely have like a cool hazel. I don't have a really good example of that, and I'm sorry if I just don't. But you could definitely have a cool hazel, like a brown that's mixed with some olive greens and some yellow, and still be considered cool. Could have some blue in it as well. Your brown eyes could have blue in it. And you could have some blue-gray. You can have some mixed in here. And mostly your tones are going to be kind of either an ashy cool quality to your skin. You could have, I haven't yet seen a woman with brown skin that's blue-black, that's medium. Usually they're very dark in their skin or in their hair, so they go to the deep category. So right now we're kind of in those medium ranges here, okay? Okay, there's a question here. How do you recommend we adjust our wardrobe between seasons? My skin is more tan in summer. I will get to that, okay? I have it on my list, don't you worry. And then Jerry says, I am top left, but with green hazel eyes. I've been told I'm warm, so I'm confused. So again, you got to take the whole picture into place. So green hazel eyes can definitely be a cool eye, okay? With the gray blend, it may be very well that you are cool. You're going to want to look at your skin, and really maybe when people tell you you've been told that you're warm, depends on who's telling you. And here's what I mean by that. Okay, so our friends and our family are very well-meaning. You really need to find the person that you truly trust their eye, because not everyone sees color the same. Not everyone is trained. And there's a lot of bias. So you might look amazing in pink, but if your best friend hates the pink or thinks of you a different way in that color, she's going to say, I hate you. I don't like you in pink. Okay, so it doesn't do you any justice. So you need to make sure you're finding the person that you want to listen to and trust. That's why sometimes the group can become overwhelming because you have multiple opinions coming at you at once. Now, that could be fun too, but it can also be confusing, and everybody has a different eye and a different opinion, and it can be a little challenging. So pay attention to who you are listening to. The other thing that I see is you go to a makeup counter and the well-meaning makeup person will say, oh, I'm going to put this neutral foundation on you, and for whatever the reason is. And now you are thinking, well, wait a second. I thought I had cool undertones, or I thought I had warm undertones, but now I'm wearing neutral foundation. I don't understand. Does that mean I'm neutral? Makeup is on top of your skin. The foundation that you are using can confuse you when you're trying to figure out your undertones. Foundation is designed to even out your skin tone. And yes, of course, your skin's going to reflect your undertones, but it may not be so obvious. And you might need a more neutral foundation depending on your skin quality. Okay. It doesn't mean that your undertones are neutral and that you can suddenly wear everything. It doesn't mean that. It simply is the foundation color name that you are using to balance out your skin tone. So all those questions I get, and I get a lot of them about the foundation I'm choosing is this, but it doesn't, but I thought I was this. You have to almost separate it, because the makeup expert's going to put a foundation on you that might not have the name or description that matches the undertones that you're doing. That's completely different. And makeup on skin interacts with your skin. So the lipsticks that you put on, the foundation, all that interacts, and it's a little bit different. Okay. If you want to know more about the application of makeup and how it interacts with your coloring, like, honestly, I can't do that because I'm not an expert, but Gail is, and she is inside of Style Masters. If you decide you want to join that group, that's a great way to start getting really clear and understanding how to wear makeup for your undertones. Okay. Okay. Can you have ashy warm skin, or is it just cool? So I don't know what ashy warm skin looks like. It's if you have a dullness to your skin, okay. I don't have a good example of that because most of the photos you find, people look very vibrant in their photos. But if you have a dullness to your skin that's obvious to you, you feel that way, I wouldn't say that you necessarily are cool or warm. Okay. Because it could just mean that your chroma is softer and you just need softer tones. So the quality of the brightness or softness of you may not necessarily indicate undertones, which I know is probably not what you're hoping I would say. Normally people that are like soft and cool will definitely have a grayish quality to their skin. Okay. Or a cool pink quality to their skin. They won't have warm tones. Okay. So, it's hard. It's always hard to give you give everyone a yes, no answer. Magenta fits me, but I'm told to be warm. So who is telling you all that you are warm? That's what I want to know. When you say things like, well, I'm told that I'm warm, who is actually telling you that? I'm going to keep reading down here. I see there's more. I used to have freckles in the summer. Now I have hyperpigmentation. Okay. I always thought that I was warm, but the veins on my wrist look blue. Okay. So I'm not a believer in the vein test. I can't tell. I mean, I think I have pretty good eye for color, but my veins look kind of blue right now. I don't believe in the vein test. So, I believe in looking at your face, looking at your skin and your eyes and your hair and the full picture and seeing what's truly in harmony. Your veins, in my opinion, don't really give us that much of a clue. Okay. So everybody's veins are a little bluish. If you feel that you have warm undertones? You probably do. Okay. I will show a small pie for bright and warm. Yes, Jerry, give me one moment. I'll go back up. I can't wear foundation because it looks too pink or too orange. Olive foundations are too ashy. Yeah, I can't help you with that, unfortunately, but I'm sure a lot of people struggle. Foundation seems to be like a really challenging thing for a lot of different people. The group is saying you're warm. Okay, the group, okay. You have to decide if you trust the group. And I'm not saying you shouldn't. Please don't misunderstand me. But you have to feel good about it and it has to resonate with you. So when someone says that you're warm, they're either, I would suggest, and I haven't looked because there's so many posts in the group. Okay. You only know what you've been doing in the group. I would go back to those small set of colors that I shared and I would drape in just those and do like small side-by-side comparisons. Here's me in a cool pink and here's me in an apricot peach or something like that, and see the difference that way. And that will help narrow things down. Often when people take photos of themselves and you're not doing anything wrong, it's just true. There's always a yellow cast in the photo and you can come across warmer than you might be. These are not trained consultants. They're all very well-meaning people that have been around and they love to share and help. But it's not the same thing as getting professionally analyzed. And you have to, it has to feel right. It has to resonate with you in some way. Okay. So if the group is saying you're warm and you're feeling like magenta fits you, then I would compare magenta with I would compare magenta with, say, a tomato red or a lighter, not orange, because that's like very polarizing, like a golden yellow or something like that, lighter, and compare the two next to each other. If you have something like that, maybe you've got like a piece of fabric somewhere or something like that, and share those side by side in the group. But if you feel very good in magenta, then the group might be wrong. Okay. So not that I want you to I don't want to put doubt in everyone's head. I just want you to know that it's really easy for a photograph to confuse people without it being adjusted or just the lighting's off. The downside of this process a little bit. Okay. I'm sure that didn't answer your question exactly. Okay. I'm going to go down. This is the bright and warm. Yeah, this is the bright and warm cherry, by the way, I'm showing right now. This is the bright over here. Okay, I'm going down the line here for the questions. Redness in your face and still being warm. Yes, I will talk about that. Let me write that down. Because that one I don't have on my list, but I will talk about it because it'll come up with the olive skin tone. Vein tests, not reliable. It's confusing. I agree. Okay. So if magenta is working for you, Jana, then I would go with that. I would go with that and play with the cool color palettes. Okay. Okay. I am a warm season with skin with red orange tones. The warm tones that have gold orange don't suit me as well as clear, warm, reddish orange colors. Could I be warm that is between bright and soft? I don't seem soft or bright, but in between. All right, I'm going to address the in between when we get to chroma, okay? Because it's a very common question. I can see warmth in my skin in person, but when looking just at those narrow wedges, magenta one seems better, but my features look almost exactly like yours. Well, you're light, you've got, so like this, so you should know I'm on video and I look cooler on the video than I do in real life. I'm actually, people like to tell me on YouTube all the time that I clearly have my colors wrong, but I am warmer in real life, and the video definitely makes me look cooler than I am. Okay. So warmth in your skin, you can definitely see neutral tones and some yellow in your skin for sure. But really what it comes down to is how the colors you're wearing is interacting with your skin. If you put on magenta and you look warmer, like you put on a blue pink and your skin suddenly looks warmer, then you might have warm undertones because it's the interaction between the two. Everything is relative. If you put on an apricot peach, it should look pretty good if you have warm undertones. But if you suddenly look bluer, then you have cool undertones. So there is a harmony there. It could be subtle, but you can get some people that you trust and to play with that and see how you're feeling about that. Okay. All right. So I hope that helps a little bit. I'm going to go down to olive skin now. Okay. And we'll talk about dominant colors in general. Can you be warm and still burn really easily? Yes. Tanning. So two of the myths that I don't agree with. One is the veins. The other is, well, I tan or I have freckles. And so therefore I must not be, or I must be this. I'm sure there is a pattern there. Someone who's very fair and cool skin tone tend to not tan well. But does that mean everyone's like that? Unfortunately, no, which is why it always causes confusion. Someone like me does not tan well. I will tan eventually, but I don't like it. And I'm very fair. So you won't even know. Like when I go on my vacations and I come back and I come on video with the group, you can't even tell that I've been in the sun. So I burn pretty easily and I have warm undertones. Okay. You can be someone like Gail who has cool undertones and she tans very, very dark. So it has a lot to do with your bloodline, where you come from, your parents, your heritage. It has a lot to do with DNA and genetics and not just, oh, I have cool undertones and therefore I burn easily. It's just simply not that straightforward. Okay. And yes, you can absolutely have cool undertones with freckles. Freckles definitely kind of can screw you up because I know that's more pigment on your face, but you can absolutely have cool undertones with freckles. You can see if I didn't skip anything here. Okay. Okay. Jane says, I took an outdoor photo of just my nose, eye, and hair and sent it to 3 friends who are artists. Okay. It was so helpful getting their impressions of my skin, hair, and eyes. Although I know I'm warm, their insights help confirm I'm warm, soft, and medium. Perfect. I've struggled about my eye color, but their insights confirmed I'm the light range of the eye color and still warm. It's so interesting learning more about color, and I look forward to taking classes. Yeah, good. I'm glad. See, make sure you're talking to people you trust with their eye, right? It's, again, the group is fun. I love it. I love when people get in there and they get excited and they're sharing all their photos. It's super fun. But approach it with caution. And now that you're learning what colors to drape yourself in, you might get even more solid opinions versus you drape yourself in a beautiful turquoise and someone might say, you look cool to me and you look warm to me. That's when you're like, I don't know. But if you're focusing on those little pies, you're going to get there. So let's talk about olive skin tone. Now, forgive me, because I know that olive skin tone does not mean you have to have gray hair, but for some reason, these are the best photos I could find that really clearly demonstrate what it might look like. Okay. Now you don't have to be this dark. You could be lighter. I don't have a good example of that either, by the way. I have met a couple of people now that have had light olive skin tone. And here's what's most important in general. If you have olive skin tone, you likely have a dominant cast of green. In photographs, it comes across more yellow. But when you wear some of those warmer colors, like up here, it feels off. In fact, often women that have more of this medium olive skin tone are often typed as warm, autumn in seasons, for example. But they've come to me and they've told me that, I was typed as an autumn, but I can't wear these browns. I can't wear them. Okay. And the reason is I explained to you before, how all the colors on the right-hand side, for example, the color wheel are made with yellow. And it's going to enhance yellow when you're wearing them. And all the colors on the left side are made with blue. And when you wear those, it's going to enhance a little bit more of the blue tones. All right. Well, green is an even balance of yellow and blue. It is both cool and warm at the exact same time. It is the perfect green. It's a very even split. Now, I know that you're not green. You're not the Hulk. You're not She-Hulk and walking around with green skin, but you still have this green undercurrent. And you could argue that olive skin tone is neutral because it has both in cool qualities. I could not disagree with you, but that also implies that you can wear all the things, okay, which it doesn't. So someone who feels like they're neutral, that they're in between, I just screwed this up, one second. They're in between. It doesn't mean you can wear all the things. What it does mean is that now you got to get a little bit smarter about the colors that are really going to flatter you. And this is where sometimes all color systems fail a little bit, because color systems, even like mine, are designed to be a little general, right? It's hard to be, otherwise we'd have 20 color types. But when you have olive skin tone, and I'm going to get to the red comment, by the way, so just hang in there with me. But when you have olive skin tone, you're dominant in green. Okay. You have a green current going through. It could be all the way up here. I've seen some that have a little bit of yellow, but it's not warm golden. It's just kind of there. So let's just assume that your undercurrent is somewhere over here in the lower right quadrant. That also means very likely, like if you wear any of these colors, not going to feel great. It's going to enhance the green. It's not going to be your best. You may have even noticed that. I've had many people say to me, I can't wear green. I hate wearing green. The other thing you may notice is that when someone has said, oh, you must have warm undertones because you've got some green and yellow in your skin. But what you'll notice is that when you wear some of these browns over here, it's really dingy and dark on you. Does nothing for you. So when you have a dominant color in your skin, and this is true for any color. So I'm talking specifically about olive skin tone here, but if you've got dominant red in your skin, dominant pink in your skin, dominant blue in your skin, one of the tricks that you can do to balance out your skin is to wear the colors on the opposite side of the color wheel. So regardless if you have warm or cool undertones, if you have a dominant red in your skin, you're about right here. If you come across the color wheel, you'll notice these blue greens and green blues, turquoises, teals. Those are going to look amazing on you and balance out that red visually. It nulls it out. It's the complement to it, okay? It'll balance out visually the dominant tones, okay? Same with the pink. If you have a dominant pink in your skin, you can wear some of these greens over here that are universal if you have warm undertones, potentially. Then it would balance things out. If you have olive skin tone, these colors on the opposite side of the color wheel are going to really balance out that green and be very flattering. Now, what's interesting about that is that those are the colors that are in the cool color palette. So regardless if you say, well, olive skin tone's different, some people say it's warm, some people say it's cool, some people say it's both, it's neutral. But does it really matter? Because what really matters is the colors that are really going to balance you, be in harmony with you, and flatter you. And in this case, the warm colors aren't going to. They pull out that green, that yellow too much. So you're going to lean into those cool color palettes here. And so that is why if you do have olive skin tone, I recommend you take a look at the cool color palettes, even if it feels counterintuitive at first, and see how those feel. Okay. And that's okay. This woman is saying, I'm an olive color, but I think I look great in greens. And by the way, that's perfectly okay. Again, I am doing and giving you guys guidelines in general of what I've seen. That doesn't mean that I'm always right. And it doesn't mean that you can't wear a color, even though I might say, well, just so you know, it might enhance your green, but that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Some people want that balance. That's what I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help guide you to those colors. All the cool color palettes have green in them. That's when you take it to the next step and narrow things down. Right. Genevieve says, I think there are various types of olives, some lean cool and some lean warm. Absolutely. Everyone is very unique. I also believe that within each color type, we all lean a little warm or a little cool. That's when we get into the levels. Okay. So someone that has olive skin tone that has chosen a cool color palette could still lean warm or cool within their color palette. And that also will customize the colors even more. Okay. But that's an advanced topic and it's overwhelming. And we're not going to get into that today. All right, so I addressed the olive skin tone and the red and any kind of dominant color. So I hope that helps a little bit. We talked about foundation. If you are cool or warm, can you dip into the opposite? So the answer is yes, you can, but with caution. So when we're looking at the warm color palettes, okay, let me go up to one. Do I have one? I'm gonna answer that a little differently. The warm color palette, if you have a warm undertones, and these are general sweeping strokes, you're going to likely be able to wear everything on the right-hand side. Okay. And if you have cool undertones, you're going to likely be able to wear everything on the left-hand side. Is that exclusive? No. Warm undertones, notice these little stars here. It means universal. They are shared between warm and cool. You can wear all of these cool colors with warm undertones. So it is a very large range of colors to play with. So if you want to wear cool colors and you have warm undertones, you've got a huge selection to wear. I would not, however, wear these cool pinks. It's like the one place I wouldn't go there. The other way is true. If you have cool undertones, you can come around depending on how you feel, because sometimes it's not true. You can dip into green. You can dip into true yellow, sometimes even into olive, depending on your tones, and sometimes even true pumpkin right here, okay, which is a warm color. It's a polarizing color. Not everyone loves wearing orange, but sometimes if you are dominantly blue or cool, that orange can look really great. Or you have a cool type and you're leaning warm within that range, you might even have pumpkin in your eyes and you can wear that color. So there's lots of opportunity to be flexible with your color palettes, okay? And you're not stuck and pigeonholed into one thing where you cannot flex it, right? All right. Jane says this information helps so much. I think I look great in muted blues, although I'm soft, warm, and medium. Looking forward to taking the color classes you offer. Does one of these, oops, I missed it because it scrolled on me. Does one of these classes cover this specifically? Yes, Jane. So if you are now like, okay, I'm getting it. I'm feeling like I'm soft or medium, but I can wear some of those softer blues really well. Well, first of all, those are going to be in your color palette. So if you were to get your fan, for example, you'll notice that you have all your blues in there. But if you really want to understand a little bit more about customizing your colors, there are two places you can go. One is to join Style Masters so that you can get your levels guide that will definitely narrow you down even further. And we're starting out these new calls. They're called I'm calling them color clarity calls, where you can actually submit a photo and some questions to really get clear on where you fit within your color type. We just did the first one last week, I think, and it was very effective. So that was really great because a lot of people still have questions, even though they know their color type. So that's a great place to be. And the other one would be the color harmony course, okay, which you don't have to be a member to purchase the color harmony course. It's included, but you don't have to do that. And that will also be very helpful. Just more color theory, but it really can put some light bulb moments in there for you. Leanne asked, why aren't these the defining colors if red and green are the neutrals? I'm confused by the orange versus magenta distinction, since magenta plum to me can seem warm too. That's just, well, that's an opinion. So magenta is technically a cool color. It's not a warm color. If you lighten it, it actually starts to look almost purple. It's pigment, has blue in it. It's not, simply not. Red and green, they're created both with cool and warm colors. And that's a whole thing. There's a YouTube video. Not I want to dismiss your question, but there's so much on this call. There's a video on how the color wheels were created that will really explain that a little bit more, and how those colors are created and why they're placed the way that I have placed them, by the way. You'll find different variations of color wheels out there. So orange is warm, but there's always rules that are broken. And what I've discovered is that there are some people who have cool undertones and can just simply wear that pumpkin really well. It's really more pumpkin, not orange. It's a little unique. And I don't know why. I can't explain it, but it just happens. And it's usually people who have that color also in their coloring, in their eyes. Okay. Okay. Can you be warm with cool eyes? If you tan, are you then warm? Okay. So first of all, your undertones don't change. So if you are not tan and you decide you are a cool color type, if you tan, you did not suddenly get warm undertones. Okay. Your undertones don't change, but here is what happens. So let's talk about tanning, because I know I got several questions about tans. Here's what happens. In the fall, winter, the colder weathers, we are probably the fairest and maybe the easiest to decide what our color types are, because we don't have a lot of that pigment happening at that moment. Okay. So let's say that you have cool undertones and you're fairly fair in the cold weather. Okay. Now, in the summer, you tan and you feel like you warm up. It's probably a little true. Your undertones didn't change, but you can't deny it. Your skin has more pigment in it. So it's going to definitely feel more warm. That's what a tan looks like, right? But what's really happening also is that you're changing a couple of things. One is you're changing your level potentially, and you're changing your value contrast. And both of those will impact how the colors look on you. So let's say that you have, I'm trying to think of a really good example here. Just give me 1 second. Let's say that you have dark brown hair and just normal neutral brown eyes, and you tanned. Now, in the wintertime, you've noticed that you really like to wear medium blue, just one of the things you like to wear. But then when you got tan, you're noticing that that's not feeling as good anymore. Now, what's happened is that your tan has lowered your contrast. You had a higher contrast between your skin and your hair in the fall, winter. And now in the summer and spring, your skin darkened up. So you've lowered the contrast. So you can do one of the following. You can now wear lighter colors to increase the contrast that you are now lacking, or go darker with your colors. Your value contrast changed. And so you might notice, some people notice that they can totally wear white when they're tan because the contrast changed for them. If I put white on me now, it'll just look transparent because I'm so fair. But if I were to really tan a fairly dark color, those lighter colors would really start to pop. Like, oh, interesting. Gives you a little contrast, a little interest. Okay. So that's what's happening there. Now, as far as the warming up bit, undertones didn't change, but as I mentioned before, within levels, there's 3 levels to a color type. You could be right in the middle, you could lean cool, or you can lean warm. And I would wonder then, if you had warmed up that much, but you were definitely a cool color type, if you could start to dip into some of those other colors that you're kind of flex out into the warmer color palettes a little bit when you're leaning warm. So those are the couple things that could happen. Everyone's different, but mostly what I've noticed is your value contrast changes, and colors that seem to be great when you're fair don't feel right. Go lighter or darker and see if that works. Okay. Oops. If you have silver gray hair and deep blue green eyes, are you automatically cool? Nope. I've seen many people that have blue-green eyes and gray hair, and they have warm undertones, and some have cool. And by the way, I saw this person's photo, and I actually think she's warm. So if she knows she asked this question, based on the photos I saw of you, your hair does not look silvery gray to me. It looks a little bit more like dove gray, which is still cool, but tends to be warm. And your skin looked a little warm. So focus on your skin more than your hair. if you're going gray. I know that's tough. No, that's really, really tough, but that's what you need to do. Okay. Can you be warm if you feel off when we're in the warmer part of the color wheel? Yes. As I had mentioned, those browns, those rusts and marigolds, and the warm olives, those are all darker colors and can also come across very earthy. If you have warm undertones and those are feeling off, you might want to go lighter, or you would definitely want to go lighter in those warm colors and then also dip into your cool universal colors as well. You may discover you like living in that space more. Those turquoises and mints and teals are all going to look really great if some of those warmer colors are feeling off. Remember, if that's that little pie that I showed you, the browns can really mess with you. So go lighter, okay, and play with those. Okay, and then the last one I've already kind of preached on a little bit. What do I do if experts, friends, and strangers all have mixed opinions on whether you're warm or cool? And my response to that is, what experts? Because if you actually paid money for an analysis, you should be well, I shouldn't say should. Be good to know you're trusting the person that you're paying, or to have them expand on the explanation of what they're finding. Your friends and strangers are friends and strangers, and they mean well, but they may not always be right. Okay. And yes, it could be a lighting problem. It could be a lighting inconsistency, and that's tricky. Okay. But you can, you keep playing with that too. All right. Okay. Let's get into chroma. How are we on time? I don't even know. I can't see my clock here. Okay. We have about 10 minutes before we have to end this. So I'm going to move a little bit quicker. Chroma is probably, once you get to this point. So if everyone's I want to know, like, put in there now, like if you are feeling like you got through the first two, then start sharing, and you would say it like this: I am warm and light. I'm warm and medium. I'm cool and light. I'm cool and deep, right? Start sharing who's got it now where you're feeling like, I think I'm these two things, because right there, that's a huge win. Because I'm going to share with you now something that I might really blow your mind a little bit, because where I used to think that the bright and soft was so important, when I first designed this system and the color wheels several years ago now, I'm realizing in some cases it's not nearly as critical. And I'm going to tell you exactly where it is more important and where it's not, and your personality can decide for you as well. Okay. Because I know some of you really want to know exactly, and I get that. So you can get exactly by, maybe getting an actual consultant to do that for you, or just take some time and practice what you really like. But there is some, I'm gonna use the word gray lines here that will allow you to be flexible and to do what is right for you. Okay, so let me explain soft and bright to you first. It's important for you to understand what this means, okay? Because a lot of people assume soft means muted, and it does, but not always. And I realized that when I called my color type soft, I realized I caused a lot of confusion because it meant muted, but a lot of people, it just confused a lot of people, and I can totally understand why. So there's two different ways you can soften a color. When you have a pure, bright color, pure, clear chroma, nothing's been touched in that color. When a color is pure, it is bright. It is a clear chroma, bright color. Okay. When you add white to it, you automatically soften it. So even though these lighter colors are in the bright color wheel, they are softer versions of it. And what we're really saying is these are light, clear chroma colors, but they are still softened. The same is true for black. You add a black to a color, you darken it. You also automatically soften it. Anytime you touch a color from its pure form, you are going to soften it. Okay. So these right here are the light softened colors, and these are the dark softened colors. What I've noticed, especially in the warm color palettes, is that the only true color that matters in the warm color palettes between soft and bright is this color right here in the center, because grayed muted colors, which I'm going to share with you next, these muted gray colors, these aren't really great on someone that has warm undertones. So if you're soft and warm, these muted colors are not the best. Okay, I have found that you actually wear the clear chroma light softened colors better than these grayed muted colors. That's the biggest difference when I did the updates. So what you will notice is the similarities between the warm color palettes, between the soft and bright color palettes, are very, very similar. They share the same light and dark colors, and the only difference is going to be the ring. Okay, let me see if I can find it. I went out of, there we go. So, okay, so this ring is pure chroma here, and it's slightly softened here. The rest and the warm color palettes are the same. So if you're someone who's warm and light, warm and medium, or warm and deep, and now you're trying to figure out, should I be bright or should I be soft? I'm going to give you some examples, but you can also decide for yourself. You can also decide, I really like brighter colors better. Great. Notice that you're not going to suddenly invest in a color palette that will be completely wrong for you because of that, because it's just this one ring of color. Now, some people ask me, can I be in between? 100% you could be in between. If you feel like you're in between and you have warm undertones, and we'll get to cool in a second here, but for the warm undertones, you're feeling like, well, I like wearing bright colors, but I can also wear soft colors. Well, I just explained that all the light and all the darker colors in your color palette are soft. So if you like wearing brighter colors, get the bright. If you're like, only every once in a while, then get the soft and then play with the bright colors. It doesn't mean just because you choose a color palette doesn't mean you can't wear those other colors. It just are guidelines for you. Yes. So, my eyes are failing me. I think it's Elsa is asking. So if I understand correctly, you add white to a warm color to soften it, not gray. Said differently, a medium warm soft wears the lighter warm colors best. Yes, instead of these. There we go. Instead of these. Now notice the dark ones, you really can't tell. Your eye does not matter. Like this could be any darker color in your color palette. Is going to work based on your range, your depth. Don't worry about it being a soft dark versus a clear chroma dark. It all kind of looks the same to your eyes. Don't worry about that. But when you go light is when you start to see those gray tones. And when you start to see a gray added to the warmer colors, it's like cooling it down a little bit. It's getting a little bit grungy. And for someone that has warm undertones, I'm thinking these are not your best. Could you wear them? Sure. I mean, yeah, you can. But if you're soft, warm, and medium, you could totally wear those if you want. But I think personally, these are going to be better. Okay. Is violet okay for warm medium? My closet has a little bit mostly violet. Yeah, it is actually. If I go up to the color wheels here, okay, notice I call it purple. And by the way, you'd think being an artist that I would know the difference, but I get them complete opposite all the time. So when I created this most recent one, called this purple. Someone might tell me this is violet and this is purple. I don't know, but I can just tell you that all the way up to here is really ideal. And if you really like wearing this little bit more red violet, this right here, I don't think it's wrong. But it does have a little bit more magenta in it. It starts to get that cool pink vibe. So I would stick to the purples coming around. Okay. Okay, let me just explain something which might help. Okay. The reason this matters, just like we talked about harmony, the same thing is true for chroma. In art, when you want a color to pop off a painting, you can surround it with muted colors and it will make the bright color pop. Okay. And the muted color starts to fade back. Well, if you are someone that has brighter tones, and we're going to take this room as an example with these bright, clear chroma colors, and you put in a soft, dusty pink, notice that it feels completely off and out of place. It's out of harmony. Doesn't work. It's kind of drab. This is how you might feel if you're someone that really could use more of those clear chroma colors and you put a little dusty color on, it feels drab, makes you feel, it's probably because you need brighter colors, okay? And then notice when you put that bright color on, it's a bright color, but it doesn't look out of place. It looks right at home. Now, I know that you're not painted like this, like these, but the concept is still the same. You can potentially know that you should choose the soft color palettes if when you wear a bright color, it is all you see. It overpowers you. Okay. When someone says, oh, it's a beautiful color, probably is. But what you want to hear is you look so good. That color is so you. Wow. That's what you want to hear. Okay. So there's a difference. If you have soft colors, soft coloring and tones like this room, the same is true. You put that same bright red on there. Wow, now it just pops forward. That's what happens when you're wearing something that's too bright for you. Okay. And if you wear softer colors and tones, it's all in harmony. Your eyes relax because we want to see you. We don't want to see the color. Okay. All right, let's talk about some bright individuals here. Good. She's the same woman who asked about the violet, says, yes, the 16s, that's the purple, are the ones I love. I feel better about that now. You're very welcome. All right. So I'm going to give you some general things to look for if you're still trying to figure out between bright and soft. Okay. And did I explain? Oh, hold on a second. Hold on. Sorry. I don't mean to jump around. I want to explain the cool. I explained the warm. I'll explain the cool in a moment. Okay. So for the bright, whether you're cool or whether you're light, medium, or deep, excuse me. Let me try it again because I did not, hold on. The reason I'm stuttering a little bit is because I didn't put all 12 color types in here because I knew this was going to go long and people get tired. So I'm going to hit on the key characteristics of bright. Okay, so here are two examples of bright, cool, and light. They're bright because she has bright white hair, bright blue eyes. She's light. People who are cool and light, especially with gray hair, tend to liven up a little bit and be a little bit more vibrant with the bright, cool, and light color palette. Okay, now the difference between the bright, cool, and light and soft, cool, and light color palette is essentially the same. Just like I explained to you, like that bright chroma ring, it's just slightly softened in soft, cool, and light. So if you're someone that's this light, but just the bright colors are just too much, choose soft, cool, and light. It's perfect. Okay. And this is the wheel for the bright, cool, and light. This ring right here, which happens to be the brightest, maybe hard to see on video, is just slightly softened for soft, cool, and light. All right, bright or medium pigment. You're looking for, again, if you're bright, you're looking for that bright, intense pigment, bright eyes. Okay. She'll maybe that heavy golden quality, bright eyes, high intensity hair. And by the way, she's got cool eyes. You can definitely have warm undertones with cool eyes. It happens often with redheads. Okay. Not so much other individuals, but I'm always proven wrong. Okay. So that bright hair, bright eyes. And like, this is a good example of this is the bright or medium color wheel. You can see that it goes all the way around. And then bright, cool, and deep. Bright hair. When you are dark eyes, skin, and hair, you need the contrast. So this is kind of the opposite. She will look amazing in like icy pale blues and white, creating the contrast between her for that high contrast. Okay. Bright eyes again, porcelain skin with black hair, that super high contrast can also be a clue. Okay. You don't always have to have a high contrast in order to be bright, cool, and deep. She's a good example right over here that she's not really that high of contrast, but I would still put her in those brighter colors. Okay. Very dark eyes, very light, bright hair. I would put bright colors in all these individuals. Okay. Now notice this is the bright, cool, and deep color palette is probably the biggest color palette that I have. It has the biggest range of color. And that is because you can lean cool, neutral, or warm within this color palette, and it does impact the contrast you can wear and the warm tones versus cool tones. So if you were someone that's dominantly cool, some of this colors may not suit you. That's where the levels come into play. Do very dark eyes often need bright? No, not necessarily. And again, whole picture, right? What's happening is you want to balance out that chroma. And so dark eyes could definitely still be on somewhat soft. So you're looking for the overall quality of the skin and the hair to see if that person needs to be more, wearing some toned down colors. Okay. Soft, cool, and light, as I mentioned before, I think they put too much makeup on her, so she looks a little warm, but I'm pretty sure she's cool. She's got a lot of softness to her. Even her eyes, even though they seem bright, aren't that bright compared to some of the other features I shared with you. So if you don't have any super bright features about you, you can maybe consider maybe soft. It's not a bad thing. I don't think I feel like I have anything super bright about me either, but I do like to wear the brighter colors, so I'm going to, okay? But I would put her in the soft, cool, and light category. Same colors as in the bright, cool, and light color palette, but that brightest ring is just slightly softened. Okay. You can see here, it's right there. It's not as vibrant, it's nice, a soft red all the way around. You'll see that's also true for soft, cool, and medium. The same thing is true. But it's unique, and this is what I was trying to say before, and I realized I got ahead of myself. What is a little bit unique about soft, cool, and medium is they tend to be very dusty in their colors and have a less tolerance of wearing brighter colors than other color types. Like soft, warm, and medium can wear brighter color if they want to. Soft, cool, and medium, it's noticeable. And I would say not as flexible. So some of these colors in here, I've actually muted with more gray than you see in the general soft color wheel, okay? Because some of the colors just really needed to be toned down. So if you are someone that likes to wear dusty grays and dusty peaks and you can nail those colors, you might be soft, cool, and medium, okay? The stars in the color wheel mean universal colors, meaning that someone who is soft and medium can also wear these colors. And warm, sorry. Someone who's soft, warm, and medium could also wear all these colors right here. They're not exclusive to being cool. Now they are more grayed, so, approach with caution. If you are soft, warm, and medium, you can certainly play with those, but yours are slightly clearer chroma than these. Okay. And then for deep, soft, cool, and deep, one of the things that really puzzles people if they're cool and deep, but they're like, I don't know if I'm soft or bright. I feel like I can wear brighter colors. Well, this is what's interesting about soft, cool, and deep. Because you have darker tones and darker hair potentially, you have a little bit more tolerance to balance out those colors. Okay. People who are lighter don't have that as balance. So you can wear brighter colors. Now, I will say this though, be careful when I say you can absolutely wear brighter colors, because sometimes even those pure bright gemstone colors still may feel a little bit too strong. Okay. You also don't really have the higher contrast that someone that's bright, cool, and deep might have. So everything is just toned a little bit down, but these colors aren't as grade as the soft, cool, and medium colors. They have a little bit more sharpness to them. And this brighter ring will feel bright on you. Because remember how I showed you that photo of the soft colors, and you put the bright color on there? Everything is relative and it will feel brighter. So you can definitely tip into those brighter colors, but just be a little bit cautious with the super bright, pure gemstone colors. That still might feel too strong. Okay. But special occasion, why not? If that's what you want to do. All right. Okay. I think I addressed that one pretty good. So there are some more questions that I got, and I know that we are running late, but I want to make sure that I address all these things. I'm hoping this is helpful. Can you have high contrast but still be soft? Yeah, you can. It really depends on the quality of your hair at that point. Okay. Okay, so there's a next step and there's some discounts. So just hang in there for just a minute then. Okay. Okay, this is actually a question that I'm going to answer in the group. It's all about your signature colors. This is a person who is light and she doesn't feel very present in her pastels, and she wants to be make a little bit more impact on her career. And colors absolutely matter in this case. And I want to address it, but we're really out of time. So I don't want to dismiss it, but I will address it in the group for this person, because this has to do with your signature colors. If you do not have your color guide, get your color guide. It shows you your signature colors, and it shows you which ones will give you the more professional appearance versus the ones that are a little bit more relaxed, etc. So if you're trying to figure out how to wear your colors in certain ways to convey certain messages and be seen a certain way, the color guide's a really great way to do that. Okay. And we talked about this. Okay. All right. So what's next? All right. So hopefully a lot of you have figured out your color type. And if you have, then go get your color fan. I mean, you can get the digital color palette and that's fine, but you're going to want your colors in your hands so you can start to look at what you've got, go shopping with some confidence, edit your wardrobe. Don't edit right away too much. Some of us get a little carried away, but anything that's being close to the face, you can now start to play with it. So your fan is really, really important. Okay. It's not me selling you a product. I really believe that. Like, I still use my fan, because when you go shopping, the lighting in those stores can really mess you up. And I can tell you, even though I have a great eye for color, I can't tell you how many times I brought a color home, like pink, and realizing it's absolutely the wrong pink for me because it looked warm in the store. And I just didn't have any point of reference because I didn't bring my fan. Okay. So that's where it can be really helpful for you. So you watch this live. Thank you so much. If you want to do that, there's a coupon code right here, ends at the end of the month, 3 steps 5. You can save $5 on your color fan if you want to go do that. Okay. And then you're very welcome. And then the next thing is, if you are feeling like you're not 100%. Now, I want to be very clear on this, because what I'm about to share with you is something that's very special to Style Masters. It's very exclusive. And I want to be very sensitive to the fact that I can't solve all the things. So we did our first clarity call for levels last week, and I really enjoyed doing it because I realized that a lot of people who still know their color type have lots of questions. And I just, when you're in it, you don't see it. And I noticed it. So I realized that this is something that's a need. So every 6 to 8 weeks, I have on the schedule a clarity call. So if you are a Style Master member, you can submit your photo, you can ask your questions, and I can help you. Should I choose deep or medium, Jen? Or, I'm still feeling like I'm between bright and soft. Can you help? Or what's my level? Show me my level, because your guides are also in your Style Masters, and that can be life-changing to learn that you lean cool and some of these colors you should avoid, even though they're in your color palette. Okay. So this also expires at the end of the month. Can't keep this up forever. But if you want to experience Style Masters, if you want to experience that clarity call, you're pretty confident on your color type, but you have questions, you want to know what really works, you can choose to stay out in the major group, and you can choose to keep posting photos. But what I've noticed is that when you're finally getting close to your color type and you start posting out photos, you get those mixed messages of well-meaning people, and it causes confusion and frustration, and you start all over again. Where if you are posting within the Style Masters group and posting on the calls and participating, you get direct expert feedback. It's very different. So it's worth it. At least go check it out. If you want to take advantage of a small discount, 10% off your first 3 months, there's the coupon code there, and there's the link. You can go check that out. I highly recommend it. I really do. The live calls, you get live tutorials, your levels guides, all your color guides are included, all your digital color palettes. And I'm going to now be doing these color clarity calls. The next one will be in July. I want it to be in June, but I can't. I'm traveling most of the month. I won't be able to support you. Okay. So take advantage of this. It's really fun. Okay. And that is really all that I have. So I'm going to leave you with this last statement, if you're willing to listen to me for just one more minute. First of all, thank you for staying on. Thank you for being here live. I love the energy. It's just it's so much fun for me to teach and to help people along. I know it's not always straightforward. It's not always black and white. See what I did there? But I also believe it's important. I really do. I feel like if we are right now looking for those colors that are going to make us feel good, it is all about who we want to show up next as. How do you want to feel when you're going into that next phase of life? You want to feel powerful. You want to feel beautiful. You want to feel confident. And wearing colors that really just, when you see yourself in the mirror, you're like, wow, it is my color. And when people say that to you, it's like reconnecting with a piece of yourself you may not even, you've already forgotten about. And it feels so good, because the more confidence you have in learning about the colors you should wear, the more confidence you have in yourself and in your choices, and the easier it will be to zone out some of the noise of other people's opinions and their stories that they're placing on you, because it happens all the time. Color is very, people have opinions, and that's fine. But if you're feeling good, that is the absolute most important thing. Learning your colors is not about finding a color that, oh, I look so pretty. That's great, but it's how you feel. It's like you put it on and you're like, oh, this is it. This is me. I'm owning this day. You walk taller, you walk into a room, people turn, they don't even know why they're looking, but they're like, whoa, she's got it together. I want to know her. That's what it's all about. And I love that. So if I helped you in any way to get there today, I hope that I did. Please put in the chat that you enjoyed it. And if you're still having questions, you know where to go. You can post in the group. You can join Style Masters and have more access to me. And that would be amazing. I would love to see you there. And otherwise, ladies, it's been amazing. And thank you so much. And I will post all this recording and the PDF that you saw. So I know Sherry was asking about, can she have them? Yes, you can. Will all be posted for you, and I will announce where it is for you. Okay. All right, ladies, thank you so much. Have an amazing weekend. Love you all. Bye for now.